Cronos family, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Let's take a look at what's happening with Cronos as we are going into Saturday morning. But happy weekend, guys. Make sure you guys step out, touch some grass, have a good time outside. That's exactly what I'll be doing today as well. I usually stay up, and I've been staying up for you guys very late recently to give you guys all these updates that you guys love. So please make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and your bell icon is on. So every time I upload, you guys are notified. Looking across the board right now, Cronos is up 8% right now. So is the broader market. So again, it's not just Cronos that's up. The broader market is seeing a little bit of a push towards the upside. We're going to take a closer look and see what are some next targets to be looking out for over the weekend. We need to obviously keep in mind it is the weekend, and on the weekends, as we know, CME futures are closed, and we do tend to see more manipulation than usual due to that. So we got to keep that factor in mind right now. Looking at Cronos price, 14.4 cents, up 6.3% on the Bitcoin side of things, up 3.3% on the Ethereum side. The valuation, $5.2 billion in the 24-hour trading volume at 41.5 million. But as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So you guys know it's not a Crypto ZX update unless we don't take a look at some of these key factors. And of course, we're going to start off with the Bitcoin dominance for the Caspa community. So the Caspa community needs to be paying attention to this right here, right now. Simple as that. I'm not going to bore you guys too much with, looking at these charts. You can see for yourself, dominance has seen quite a sharp pullback over the last 24 hours, which itself is the core reason why we're actually seeing quite a bit of green across the board right now. Bitcoin, on the other hand, still having a hard time breaking out of $107,000. And now this should give you a real big understanding as to how important this support really was as we were breaking towards the downside. But as we are trying to see Bitcoin try to see a little bit of a bounce, but we're still having a hard time breaking out of that. And that is something you want to look very, very closely into. The fact that we're having a hard time breaking out of $107,000 resistance, that itself should not be ignored by any means. So you want to be paying very, very, very close attention to the $107,000 price point right now, because the fact that we're seeing weakness here, yet you're seeing altcoins going, that is mainly due to the dominance going down. So again, Bitcoin could still end up tumbling towards the downside, which I still think is in play. It's definitely still in the books. So we got to obviously keep that stuff into consideration. So Cronos price is back above the key support line. Again, this is the bear market zone, as I have stated to you guys before. I can also argue that, even below the 78.6 is the bear market zone. But, being below the 14.4 cents is definitely, I don't care what people say, that is definitely the bear market zone. And, if you want to put this into perspective right now, of course, we fell below this key range yesterday. So did the broader market. So, shouldn't really be a crazy shock to anyone, to be quite frank with you. This is not, a big shock. Come on, guys. Like, I read some comments. People are saying, why is this going down? Why is this? Why is that? But you cannot ignore what is happening with the broader market. This is, having a positive correlation with the broader market, meaning it is being impacted, with the broader market. So you can see for yourself, we did go down to the likes of 13.2 cents, but, we briefly stayed down here because you can see the price recovered back up, and we've seen a 10% gain over the last 24 hours itself. And, we are back above where we need to be. This is bare minimum. This, if you want to know, this right here for the price of Cronos is bare minimum. But now I want you guys to focus on something here very, very closely. If you've been noticing, since its yearly high, it's been on this downwards decline, like just a sharp decline. Yes, the market retraced this and that, yada, yada, yada. But aside from that, it was already in this downwards trajectory. And what a lot of people don't understand is this right here. There were a lot of people that were accumulating below here for a long, long time. Yes, that is correct. If you want to look at a bigger picture here, look at it for yourself. Since June 2022, if you think, if you think this is not patience, there were people that were accumulating around here, believe it or not. And imagine, the people that did get in around this key range. Let's actually take a look at it. So imagine the people that were able to get in around just even this year. I'm not even taking you guys back down, the earlier days. The ones that were accumulating 7 cents, they saw an increase of about 500%, 550. No, I'm sorry, not 550. Apologies. So 450% would be equivalent to 5.5x. Some people are going to lock in profits. And that's definitely the case. And remember what I said to you guys before, Cronos unfortunately moved so fast last cycle that there's no significant support line for itself. So it needs to find a ground for itself, and you could really see how that played out. But because of course, unfortunately, the overall market started, being bearish right off the bat as well, and we started to see quite a bit of volatility within the markets, which of course had an impact on Cronos itself. But again, you got to take a look at the bigger picture. You got to understand the risk factor associated to it, and that's where your due diligence and research comes into play. And I'm sure a lot of people understand that, obviously, and they're accumulating for the long haul. Do I personally think that Cronos has the capability to reach all-time highs? I do, in my honest opinion. Again, I bring you guys unbiased updates. In my opinion, Cronos, with the things that these guys are doing, especially with the Trump media accusation, where they are buying a huge chunk to create a Crow treasury, that itself is a huge key component, and especially as regulation is coming towards the U.S., Cronos could be the leader in terms of exchanges that could thrive. So if you put those things into perspective, I do see a potential there, but again, that's my own personal opinion. That does not mean there's no risk factor associated to it. So of course, there's always going to be a risk factor associated, which I think a lot of people, tend to forget. Like, when people are investing in crypto, they think there's no risk associated. They think they're just going to invest in there and they're going to just be mad rich and they're going to be driving Lambos, having mansions. I wish it was that easy. But unfortunately, market has matured, and you need to understand there's risk factors associated to it. And right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's big uncertainty. But I do believe, solid projects across the board have a massive sale going on, especially if for long-term accumulators. And again, going back to what I said, I could be wrong, but I still do believe that this year is going to end off on a positive note. Again, that's my own personal opinion. As always, time is going to tell, but I'm looking at the historic patterns. There's so much uncertainty right now. I think that is going to turn around, in my opinion, but Bitcoin needs to stabilize first and foremost, which it needs to do so, and it is by no means doing that as of yet. So I'll keep you guys covered as always. Let me know in the comments what you guys personally think. And yeah, appreciate all the love. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace.